Welcome to the Podkey summary of Explore Advanced App Intense Features for Siri and Apple Intelligence from WWDC 2026. A lot of the newest Siri and App Intense work comes down to one idea. Give the system better context, and it gets a lot more useful. That means better app-specific responses, smarter follow-up questions, cleaner confirmation for risky actions, and a much better shot at understanding what the user means without making them repeat themselves. And for developers, the interesting part is that most of this is pretty practical. It lives in donations, indexing, entity ownership, and the little bits of metadata that tell Siri what's on screen, what's playing, or what that notification actually belongs to. One nice upgrade is custom dialog responses. In the perform method, developers can adopt provides dialog and return an intent dialog with one string for full voice and another for supporting UI. So Siri doesn't have to answer in generic system language. Your app can give phrasing that feels native, whether somebody's hearing it in AirPods or seeing it on a screen. There's also a practical payoff when an intent needs clarification. If you insert a dialog request before the result comes back, Siri can ask something like what to label a timer while the action is still in progress. That sounds small, but it cuts down on those awkward moments where the assistant guesses wrong or the user has no idea what just happened. Interaction donations are basically how apps teach Siri from real behavior. If somebody sends a message in Unicorn Chat, that UI action can be donated as a temporary app intent transcript. Apple Intelligence uses that to infer future shortcuts, so over time Siri learns which app the person actually prefers for a given task. The same idea matters even more for ongoing activities. If an app donates the start of something like a navigation session, Siri can later add a stop or change the route without reopening the whole app flow. That pattern also extends to things like stopwatches and timers, which is exactly where continuity matters most. The catch is donation quality matters. If an app donates too many interactions or donates things that don't really reflect real user behavior, Apple Intelligence may start ignoring them. So this is one of those rare cases where restraint is a feature. Donate the actions that actually mean something. Siri is also getting more deliberate about confirmation for actions with meaningful side effects, especially if the thing being changed is public or shared. That's partly a guardrail for large language model mistakes. If there's any real chance an assistant could misunderstand and update something visible to other people, a confirmation step is the safer move. Developers can support that with ownership providing entity. An entity can report whether it's private or public, and Siri uses that to decide whether to ask first. So editing a shared crew lunch event should trigger a check. Editing a private item might not. The important part is keeping that ownership state in sync with the system's fetches, so the safety logic stays accurate. A big piece of Siri getting smarter is semantic indexing. If playlists are marked as indexed enti and pushed into Spotlight with CS searchable index and index app entities, Siri can understand a request, like play my WWDC playlist based on meaning, not just exact text matching. But indexing is not a set-it-and-forget-it deal. If new items aren't added, changed properties aren't updated, or deleted items hang around, Siri's view of the world gets stale fast. And if indexing everything is unrealistic, there's a fallback. Apps can implement intent value query, take in structured search input, like audio search, and return matching entities on demand. That helps with messy real-world requests, including ambiguous ones. If somebody says play Cosmo tunes, and that could mean several things, the app can choose a sensible default like playing like songs. It can also resolve references that come in through a URL-shaped trail, like play that playlist Glow sent me, which is a very human way to ask for something, even if it's a little chaotic. On-screen awareness is another big quality of life piece. With NS user activity and view entity annotations, apps can tell Siri what entities are currently visible. That lets a user say something like play the third one without naming it, because Siri can resolve the reference from what's actually on screen. For bigger collections, collection annotations can provide identifiers lazily, which keeps the whole thing more scalable. And for custom interfaces, Developers can annotate canvas views too. So even a non-standard view, like a piano roll visualization, can become something Siri understands and can act on. That's a meaningful shift from voice commands living in isolation to voice commands actually understanding the app scene the user is looking at. There's also a really useful thread running through system integrations. Attach persistent entity identifiers wherever the system surfaces your app's content. That includes notification content, now playing sessions, and alarm configuration. Once those identifiers are in place, Siri has concrete context instead of vague guesses. That's what enables commands like reply, OK to the unicorn chat notification, or snooze the Cosmotunes alarm, or act on what's currently playing without the user having to restate everything. It's a behind-the-scenes detail, but it creates a much smoother experience because the same app entity is being recognized consistently across different system surfaces. When Siri does answer on a visual device, developers can also return a SwiftUI view with Show Snippet View and replace the default entity display. So instead of a plain generic card, you can show something like a playlist snippet view that matches your app's branding and color scheme. That makes the experience feel more cohesive, but it still needs testing across both visual and voice-only devices. A pretty snippet is great, but the spoken response still has to sound natural when there's no screen there to help. The overall pattern here is simple enough. If developers give Siri richer context, cleaner ownership signals, and better records of what users actually do, Siri can act a lot less like it's guessing. And when that works, the assistant feels calmer, more accurate, and a little less like it woke up 5 seconds ago. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.